Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I'm sharing an unboxing video of some Catherine Pooler products that I recently received. These were actually sent to me free of charge, which I'm very thankful to Catherine Pooler Designs for sending these to me, and I'm going to be showing a card I made with some of the product I received later in this video, and I'm planning to make some more cards in the future which I will share videos of. And if you would like to purchase any of these products, I do have affiliate links in the description box below to all of the products that I'm showing here. So I'm going to start by showing the stamp sets that I received, and this first one is the Happy Together stamp set, which has various love themed sentiments. There's love you and happy anniversary, and then there's some little layering birds and a branch, among other things. Next is the Punctuated party stamps, which are illustrated by Shauna Klingerman, and these have lots of different circles and some party themed sentiments, and different kind of dots and confetti pieces. Moving on, we have a larger stamp set, which is the Sweet Home Wreath stamps. And I believe the two kind of leafy wreath parts can be sort of layered together, and the sentiments are home related, so home is where your heart is and home sweet home. The other large stamp set I have is the Woohoo stamps, which are also illustrated by Shauna Klingerman, and this stamp set has lots of different celebratory sentiments, some balloons and a cake stamp, and just lots of great stamps for celebration cards. So those are the stamp sets that I received. I also have a rubber stamp. This is the Sandy background stamp, and I will use this one on the card that I make at the end of this video. I will take this one out of the packaging and show you. So being a rubber stamp, it has that cling foam backing, which will stick nicely to your MISTI or other stamping tool, or you can just put it on your craft surface and bring your paper to it and stamp that way. Before I move on to the inks that I received, I did also get a stencil, and this is the Scattered Circles stencil, and this would work well as snow or bubbles or just a fun dotty background. Lots of different ways that can be used. And then last but not least, I received several different inks. So I have Lime Rickey, Flirty Fuchsia, Something Borrowed, Party Dress, Aquatini, Tiara, and Tiki Torch, as well as the Midnight Black ink. And I also already had Limoncello and Twilight, and I believe all the colours are from the Party collection. Midnight and Twilight are from the Neutrals collection, but the colours I believe are all from the Party collection. And I'm really looking forward to playing with these. I've already swatched them out as well. So having shown you everything I received, we'll just make the quick card with some of the products. So I'm going to use Aquatini, Something Borrowed, and Lime Rickey with the Sandy background stamp. I have positioned the card base into my MISTI and put the background stamp where I want it, and I've removed the foam portion from my MISTI because as this stamp has the cling foam on it, we don't need the foam in the MISTI, otherwise it would be too thick. And I'm just randomly inking up areas of this stamp with the three colours I mentioned before. And I didn't really have much of a plan with this card. I just knew I wanted to use that stamp, I wanted to use these colours, and I thought I'd just have a go and see where it took me. So once I have all of the colours onto the stamp, I'm not inking up the whole stamp because I've positioned it so it's hanging off the edge of my card, so I don't need ink on the whole stamp. I'm just inking up the areas that I know will be hitting that card base. Once I'm happy with the inking, I'll close the MISTI door and stamp that onto the corner of my card base. This card base is just Nina £110 cardstock, and after stamping it down I did decide to ink it up again, trying to somewhat pay attention to what colours I had where initially, but it doesn't matter too much because it will help the colours blend if they're overlapping a bit. And in fact I did go over the whole thing with the Aquatini to help the colours blend. So I'll push that down and I'll just keep repeating the inking until I am happy with how that background looks. And once I was happy with the stamping, I decided I actually wanted to add more colour to the image, so I have a very small ink blending brush, and I'm going to ink blend each of the same 3 ink colours over the stamped area. So I start with the Lime Rickey, which I put into the centre portion of that image. And I do tap off the ink into the lid of the ink pad so that I can get off the excess ink from the brush, and this will help it blend better. And I prefer this with these ink pads to tapping it off on my craft mat, for example, because this way the ink is not getting wasted. I did forget to tap off when I first went in with the Aquatini and ended up with a bit of a blobby smudge, but that's okay. I will hide that later on in the process. And I'll just keep going through adding ink to the various segments until I am happy with how that looks. Once I did have it all blended, I felt that the lines had got not lost exactly, but they weren't as crisp as I wanted them. So I did go back in once again and stamp the image one more time onto the card base. And of course, this works best if you have left your stamp in place. Generally, I do try to leave my stamps in place in my MISTI, unless I need the MISTI for something else. I try to leave the stamp in place until the card is completely finished, and that way if I do need to go back and stamp something again, then I can without fear of messing it up. Next, I'm going to add my sentiment, and I chose the large Love You from Happy Together. And I'm going to stamp this with the Midnight ink, and this is the first time I've used the Midnight ink, but I do know from watching other videos that you don't want to press it down too hard when you're inking up the stamp. You just want to give it a light love tap, so that's what I did. And I did make sure to position my sentiment such that the bold portion is covering up that smudgy mistake I made with the Aquatini. So that helps disguise it, and I will just press that down firmly, and here you can see how that looks. And that ink does stamp nice and crisply, so I didn't even need to double stamp it, which was very nice. I did decide to add some highlight detail to those thicker letters with a white gel pen, just for some added interest, and I'm going along the left hand side of each vertical part of the letters, just to add a highlight along them. And then as a final touch, I'm going to bring in some Nuvo drops. These are Simply White Nuvo drops. These Nuvo drops do, however, kind of reactivate the ink a bit, so because they're wet, so they will take on the colour of the ink you have underneath them. So they do look white here at the end of the video, but as you'll see in the picture, they become almost kind of camouflaged. They pick up some of the colour underneath, so they're not as stark white anymore, which I don't mind, but if you do, you could always try forming your Nuvo drops on a piece of craft mat or something that you can peel them off and then stick them onto your card once they are dry. So here you can see the completed card, and a big thank you again to Catherine Pooler Designs for sending these to me. If you enjoyed this video, do click the thumbs up button to let me know, and you could let me know in the comments below which of the stamp sets you'd like to see me create with next. If you're not yet subscribed, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the button showing on screen now, and there are also a couple of other videos that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I'll thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!